Hello again, and this video is going to be about another program I made on Labview. It's basically a functioning elevator, about a 5-story elevator, and this one only took me a few hours. Still a very complex program, and as you can see from the program here, everything is inside this event structure here. You can see every single button that is, or any single condition that's inside the elevator, and that includes all the buttons, has a different program inside this event structure. So whenever one of these events take place or one of these buttons is selected, it goes to this part of the program and will run it. And it's basically, most of them are the same thing, but with all different assigned values to them. And then let's see. And then over here, obviously, this is going to be our display for our elevator going up the floors. Let's put that on the top floor to start with. And then I have a display here for the door open and close, which we'll get to that. Here's all our buttons here that are inside the elevator. Our weight cap, which there is an alarm that will set that off if that is exceeded, and we can change that value. There's a weight sensor on the floor of this elevator. And then I have a graph here that graphs out the weight on every cycle. But if we go back and take a look at the program for a second, you can see our blank button 0 is basically ground floor. Whenever that ground floor button is selected, it will run this part of the program, which is a flat sequence with a couple while loops and a case structure inside of an event structure. And you can see all our local variables are getting zeroed out before it runs, or calibrated in this case on these. And the first part of our process, we have a case structure here, true or false, Boolean comparison, that for safety is checking the weight sensor embedded in the floor of the elevator, checking to see if it exceeds 3,400 pounds or not, and if that's false, it'll go to the false section of the case structure, and it will skip over it'll override the stop sequence, and it'll move on to the next section. If that is true, if it does exceed 3,400 pounds, so you can see here x greater than y, that's our weight sensor being greater than our constant of y, which is 3,400 pounds. You get this alarm sequence here, which will stop the program completely, and it will bring up the alarm string into our, and I'll display this later, it'll show up in the alarm display here that says overweight or overcapacity. Now if that is false, most of the time it will be, it will run over to this while loop here, which is our door closing sequence. And of course I have a millisecond timer on that for safety reasons so that the door doesn't close too quickly. And basically, as with anything, our door here has values into it, and I have the properties in here. You can adjust the scale. I have it set from 0 to 10. So with it at 10 it is fully closed, and at 0 it is fully open. So with those numbers, I can run this loop, adding 1 every time the loop goes around. This loop, basically the whole loop will run through once a second. So that door will close with a 400 millisecond timer on it until it reaches this, which is x equals y, which is 10. And then that part of the program will stop. And then here's another safety input here. There's a 2-second time delay before the elevator starts to move. And then this is our, basically you hit the ground floor, so it's going to go to the ground floor. This is the part of the program inside this while loop here that will control what floor the elevator is at and what floor it's going to stop at. And then of course after that the only thing left is the door opening sequence, which is the exact opposite of our door closing sequence. Subtracting 1 instead of adding 1. And I mean, with every event with every button that you press in this event structure. You can see them all here, you know, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor, and then our emergency stop. All the floors, though, are set up the same way, except there's different values that are inputted here, obviously. And then our emergency stop is a very simple sequence here. It basically asks if the emergency stop button is pushed, and if it is, it's going to go into alarm and it's going to stop the entire program. So let's go ahead and go over, and we can run this part of the, we can run this program and show you how this elevator functions. I'll show you the alarms first, I guess. Let's assume that some fat fuck from McDonald's is in the elevator, so we're going to go to 3,500 pounds, which is just 100 pounds over our weight capacity limit. Now if we go to run this, let's see here, run, and let's go to the ground floor. And you can see we have an alarm, overweight, that popped up in our string display here. So that works pretty well. But let's get that person from McDonald's off the elevator and go to 2,700 pounds, which is it's a pretty big elevator. Now, let's see here. Get this so you guys can see it. Now we're going to run it, and we're going to go to the ground floor. You see our door closing, and then you'll see the elevator going all the way down to our ground floor. All the displays and meters are working. And then our door open sequence. Now the other alarm, of course, I wanted to show you that works is our emergency stop. If we're anywhere, we hit this emergency stop button and the program completely quits, and we have this emergency display on our string. Now we're at the ground floor. I'm going to go up, let's see here, let's run this program and we'll go up to, say, the third floor. So same thing, our door is closing and we're going to go first floor, second floor, third floor. Pretty sweet, pretty flawless. And then of course, like I showed you earlier, I got this weight sensor being graphed out over here. If we change this value, say there's only one person on here, we'll say 165 pounds, this is going to drop down in our graph, obviously. But I also did this over here, this little display here, which simulates if you're standing outside the elevator on the 5th floor, or actually on the ground floor, and say the elevator's up at the 5th floor and you're calling for it to come to you to pick you up. So you hit the up button. This looks familiar, obviously. So we hit the up button, and this would basically be what you would see waiting on the ground floor, waiting for the elevator to come get you. And yep, down at the ground floor. So yeah, this only took me a couple hours to make this, write this program, and it's still a pretty complex program, obviously, for a fully functional elevator. It was a lot of fun. I never worked with event structures before, but I definitely learned a lot, and I hope you enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun for me. And that's it. I'll have another video up pretty soon. I got to think of some more ideas on some cooler programs to run for you guys. Alright, thank you.